My world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am what I am.
You know, to have something to introduce the LadyBirds to the rest of the LGBT community in Dublin, and to really share with you the great, fantastic work that they do. And you're going to see what amazing young women, LBT gals and their pals are form the LadyBirds. So we are very, very lucky to have Alva Smith here with us this evening. Alva is a gal who has been a pal of the LadyBirds for a long time, and a hero and role model to many of us in this room. So I'm delighted you could join us this evening, Alva. Thank you.
Hello LadyBirds and hello everybody else. And thank you so much for asking me to come here this evening, because I really can think of no better place to be than with such wonderful young women as yourselves. And I think it was yesterday or the day before, Meninia sent me the manifesto, and my first thought, I looked at it immediately, and I think I sent you back a note. Big girls and boys, please copy, because you know what you young women are doing here is absolutely fantastic. And I know, and you know, we all know, that putting together a manifesto which says something about who you are, what you do, how you do it, what you're interested in, what you're concerned about, how you want to change the world, that doesn't drop out of the blue sky easily. And I see you nodding. You know, that takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of discussion, it probably takes a fair amount of argument. What? No, really? Argument?
We're still friends afterwards.
And then you have learned the most important thing about campaigning to change the world, which is that you work with people, you argue your way through it, you fight the good fight, you put up your side, your position, your point of view, and then you know you listen to the other person, you have a conversation, and then you get out together and you do it, whatever it is. So I was really struck, and I was struck by how thoughtful everything was and how you had connected things. I mean, one of the first things that struck me on the first page that I was reading what you do, well, of course I love we advocate feminism and giving young women a voice, absolutely, totally. But then you said you actually explained what you mean by that feminism, and you say we do not accept the status quo and we challenge social norms, not accepting the status quo, not taking things as given. In all of your Education for Life programme, I think that the most important thing there is in education is to work with people so they learn that it's okay to ask questions. And to say, if you don't like the answers, I'm sorry, that answer doesn't do. We're going to have to get out there and do something different to make this world a better and a different place. So that whole sort of fundamental idea about what education really is something, I mean, I don't know if you know it, but you actually do know it, if you see what I mean. It's actually embedded here in your manifesto, that getting out to challenge the status quo, it isn't necessary. Things the way they are aren't always wrong, although my experience is that they could always do with a bit of improvement. But so it's not necessarily to change everything upside down, but it is to look at everything and to examine it and to say, is that okay? And if it's not okay, what can we do as a collective, as a group of people? What can we do to change it? 1 is good, 2 is okay, I suppose 2, but 3 is fantastic. And when you have several, when you have a number of LadyBirds all working together and going in the same direction, that's when you can really achieve something, isn't it? And I think you know that. And you do describe how you go about that, and that's so impressive. But then I was looking at your interests and I thought, oh my God, there's so many of them. I love campaigning, I love them all. Irish politics, I mean, you have a very broad and very inclusive view. You're interested just simply in how the world is and how the world works and how you can live in it as young lesbian, bi and trans women. And I think that that's that's what you have your eye on all the time. And I just thought how wonderful it is to see, you know, more or less side by side, foreign politics and art and glitter. I mean, frankly, the art and glitter, I think, is probably going to take the biscuit. But foreign politics is pretty important. And, you know, I think it's quite unusual because a lot of people just don't think about foreign politics. They just don't think about what's out there beyond. And I don't just mean
I'm going to hear from some of the ladybirds themselves. So I'd like to invite Bronwen, Emer and Lesley to come and share some thoughts.
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bronwen. I'm here to talk to you about the LadyBirds and what it means to me. We are an inclusive group of LBT gals and non-binary pals. LadyBirds are like my second family. They're always there to comfort me when sad, rant with me when mad, and celebrate when happy. I find that the people here are the best part. The mix of personalities and ideologies are what make it fun to come every week. Everyone is accepted, everyone is included, and everyone is wanted. We are our own tight-knit community. Our numbers don't go over 20, but since we are small, we can concentrate on what we want to do as a whole. Everyone's input is valid and wanted. In LadyBirds, it is amazing. If you don't go for a while, you feel like you're missing something big. And then when you're back, you realise you've been missing this. In LadyBirds, we cover many different topics, and every 12 weeks we decide what topics we will do. We cover all sorts of subjects that are important to us as a group, such as periods, lesbians in media, and sex education. I find it interesting to have different topics each week and to raise awareness about issues important to us. This makes people think about things they haven't considered before. This group of individuals make my weeks brighter and my worries smaller. Everyone who comes is amazing and unique in their own way. Some of us paint beautiful pictures, others tell us what has happened in their lives. And I give film reviews. If we were all the same here, then where's the fun? I should finish by thanking you all for listening, and I have a quote for you all. Be a pineapple. Stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bronwen. I'm here to talk to you about the LadyBirds and what it means to me. We are an inclusive group of LBT gals and non-binary pals. LadyBirds are like my second family. They're always there to comfort me when sad, rant with me when mad, and celebrate when happy. I find that the people here are the best part. The mix of personalities and ideologies are what make it fun to come every week. Everyone is accepted, everyone is included, and everyone is wanted. We are our own tight-knit community. Our numbers don't go over 20, but since we are small, we can concentrate on what we want to do as a whole. Everyone's input is valid and wanted. In LadyBirds, it is amazing. If you don't go for a while, you feel like you're missing something big. And then when you're back, you realise you've been missing this. In LadyBirds, we cover many different topics, and every 12 weeks we decide what topics we will do. We cover all sorts of subjects that are important to us as a group, such as periods, lesbians in media, and sex education. I find it interesting to have different topics each week and to raise awareness about issues important to us. This makes people think about things they haven't considered before. This group of individuals make my weeks brighter and my worries smaller. Everyone who comes is amazing and unique in their own way. Some of us paint beautiful pictures, others tell us what has happened in their lives. And I give film reviews. If we were all the same here, then where's the fun? I should finish by thanking you all for listening, and I have a quote for you all. Be a pineapple. Stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside.
Hi, so I'm Emer, and this is the second time I've spoken for Belong To, so I'm going to assume that the last time wasn't too big of a disaster. A lot of people seem to think, ever since the marriage referendum was passed, homophobia doesn't really exist in Ireland anymore, at least it's quite rare. But I wish I could say that yes, once we voted yes, all the homophobia was eliminated. But I'm not going to stand here and lie to you, because this is a big issue that we need to tackle. So this evening I'm here to talk to you what it's like to be LBT in Ireland today. Growing up queer in my generation is definitely easier than it has been in any previous generation. I can't even begin to imagine how stifling it must have been to grow up in a country where it was illegal to be something you couldn't control. Now, admittedly, the law did only talk about men, because as we all know, queer women don't really exist. However, this doesn't mean it no longer... However, this doesn't mean it no longer affects us. We live in a country where we talk about nothing for hours, but anything serious just gets shoved under the rug. We don't talk enough about LGBT issues. We don't even talk enough about being queer, for God's sake. Let's face it, the closet is tight and uncomfortable, but sometimes our own living rooms become the closets. As I mentioned earlier, many people believe that homophobia is no longer a thing, but 40% of voters, I've got this wrong. It's not 40%, it's 39 point something of voters said no to same-sex marriage. That's over 730,000 people who made a decision that would not affect them, but would hurt the people it did. My aunt said we should keep marriage traditional. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see anything traditional about wearing a black wedding dress, but I guess my aunt and I differ on that one. During the run-up to the referendum, a girl in my class told me she had no problem with gay people getting married, but then they'd want families, and that just wasn't right. This is the same girl who believes bi people are confused and greedy, but as soon as she gets her hands on the vodka, anyone is fair game.
Always hitting hard.
Just to add salt to the wounds, I ran into people at Pride who shared the same view as her. Pride has turned into a capitalist wonderland. Companies like Google and Apple have floats and are handing out flyers. They profit from what originally started as a march for our rights. Pride is held in June as an anniversary for the Stonewall riots. Another issue I feel affects LGBT people is the massive lack of sex ed. To be honest, finding a secondary school who has received actual sex education is rare, which is already alarming enough as it is. But when you are lucky enough to be taught about sex, it is always heteronormative. We learn about how to get pregnant, and in science, how not to get pregnant. This has to change. Not only does it give off the dangerous idea that a woman's body is nothing more than a vessel, it also makes the assumption that everyone will have sex in the same way. There are so many LBT girls who don't realise they can still get STIs. They don't know about DAMs because we are not teaching them, and that terrifies me. We have to start teaching proper sex ed, and that is both inclusive and in detail. We are putting too many young LBT people at risk. When I mentioned the fact I was writing the speech to a friend, she made a very valid point. We are hypersexualized. We are treated as something sexy, something erotic, a fucking fantasy, if you will. I've had men stare at me whilst I've kissed someone, and even when I was holding someone's hand. People don't look when a straight passing couple kiss. So why must they do so when it's two girls? Because our bodies are already sexualized. So when it's two girls, God, we're doomed. You don't just see that in real life though, you see it in the media. Lesbian characters are rare, and when they do feature, their role's focal point is sex, or dying in a tragic accident. It hurts to see our community portrayed this way time and time again. We do not exist to be some boy's fantasy. I am not some kind of sapphic manic pixie dream girl. We need to find a way to challenge this. We cannot let another generation grow up without a queer role model. We need to teach them from a young age that their identities are valid, even if they don't see it in the media. And I realise my speech has been very bleak, but I do believe we have a bright future ahead of us, and the LadyBirds really give me a sense of that hope. But we need to keep challenging things and we need to keep fighting it. And I love the fact that one day I'll be able to walk down the aisle with the girl I love. But first I want to be able to walk down the street holding her hand without having to worry about who's around. Thank you.
Firstly, thank you all for coming today and taking the time out of your busy days to come and listen to us stand on our pedestals and scream about feminism. So I'm going to be talking about the manifesto and just our plans a little bit more kind of detailed. So why it's important to us and why it's important to the future of the LadyBirds. So when creating this document, we were thinking about it and like why it's important. And the reason for me, and I'm assuming for the rest of the LadyBirds, we wanted it to be important was because it's a guiding document. It's to hold us accountable for our actions, for everything that we're planning to do, that we can look at this and say, yes, we're ticking the box, we're ticking it. It's feminism, it's intersectional, it's inclusive, it's everything. We want to tick every single box here. We want to be accountable for all of our actions. And we also want it to be something that we can continuously look back to. So if any of us have had the chance to read through it, it's a document that can be like, it'll hold for a couple of years, you know, it'll keep going and we can continue to add to it. In relation to the LadyBirds and why it's important to us, I feel, this is probably just a personal opinion, so guys, we were getting a bit stagnant, we were kind of losing track of our beliefs, or we were like doing the motions, we were doing the workshops over and over and learning and educating each other, but we weren't doing anything about it. We weren't getting out to a bigger audience and showing what we've learned and teaching other people. And that's what the manifesto is about, it's holding us accountable to that. So we wanted to create something, again, as I said, that would last for years and that we could be really proud of. So if you read over it, there's little snippets involved here that Alpha would have mentioned. It's something, it reflects us, it reflects who we are, and that's why it's important to us and something we're really proud of. And hopefully some of you have gotten the chance to read it as well. The main thing we wanted from it, or that we're hoping to do, is to make it as inclusive as possible. We want to make sure everyone can be a part of this process, everyone will feel welcome to come and join us. And at the very front of it, you'll see the statement that some have said today, LBT gals and our non-binary pals. That's so important for us in Belong To, and not in particular, but in LadyBirds. We recognise that young people today are so much more gender diverse. It's so much different from what it may have been even 10 years ago, even just the visibility there. People are so much more gender diverse, and it's important to reflect that in groups like this, in society, everywhere. It's really important to reflect that. And part of what I've written here is it's important to acknowledge that although we may identify differently, society treats us the same way. So, for instance, I politically am a woman, but personally I am queer. I don't identify with that label, but I am treated like a woman because I look like a woman, because I am female. You know, so although I might not identify with it and I might say no, I'm still treated based on that, and that's not fair. So the document in itself would show that we're inclusive of all people. And for us, that inclusivity there, is that even a word? It is now. It is now. And for us, it means that we all face similar issues, but it also means that this group is open to all people who are maybe affected by the issues that are raised in the manifesto. So something that I kind of thought about that would reflect that is that you don't necessarily have to be gay to be homophobically bullied, whereas you don't necessarily have to identify as a woman to be what's the word there, to experience misogyny. How could I even forget that one, Jesus. So just to note on that although you may not identify as a woman or even feminine, you still can be affected by those issues, and that is important to address. We also tried to create something that was welcoming. So in the group and in the manifesto, it's welcoming. We wanted people to feel that although we're dealing with these very hard-hitting topics, you can still come to us. We can still, we'll sit down, we'll colour, we'll play with glitter and art. And what's the ones I have written there? Yeah, our interests versus our core beliefs are very distinctly different. So we go from glitter music to boobs to ending rape culture, redressing misogyny, and comprehensive LBT sexual health. It goes from one to the other. And just on the note of the boobs, the reason we put that in there, right, it wasn't just because we're all a bunch of queers. The topic was why women aren't allowed to have their breasts out in public. So we wanted to address that. We wanted to, in your face, put that statement there and say, do you know what, I'm going to shove my boobs in your face if you don't like it tough. Not that I'm going to do that here, guys. But that's why it was important to our manifesto, because we're sick of this, like Emer was mentioning, this constant sexualization. So that's why we raised that issue, just to clear that up. So yeah, if you read over the manifesto, or if you get a chance, our interests go from stuff like the gay agenda, to music, to food, which is always food. I always need popcorn, always need food. To which can be quite light, and the reason it's quite light is to kind of counteract the heavy stuff, because obviously the heavy stuff is very heavy. But we also wanted to reflect on the fact that we are trying to create positive agents of social change. We want ourselves to be people that can change this, that we're not willing to accept any form of oppression. As Emer would have stated, there are some serious issues affecting young LBT women and our non-binary friends as well, and much like others have mentioned today, so Emer. And that's not, it's just not good enough, simply as, it's just not good enough. I refuse to accept oppression put on me based on the fact I'm working class. I refuse to accept oppression put on me based on the fact I'm female, and I refuse to accept oppression based put on me because I'm queer. I refuse that, and I will never accept that. And as far as the LadyBirds go, we refuse, absolutely refuse to accept oppression to other marginalised groups, such as women of colour, such as Muslim women, such as the invisibility of the trans and non-binary community within conversations around LGBT. We refuse to do that. We are just not gonna, I can't stress that enough, it wrecks my head, it just wrecks my head. And that's what the manifesto is there to address. So we're publicly announcing that we as a bunch of LBT women and non-binary people are unwilling to accept that, and we're going to be actively campaigning against that. So while also keeping it fun, because popcorn and boobs and glitter. So I'd like to mention here now another aspect of the manifesto, and that's the personal growth that's going to allow for the LadyBirds. So this is where I get real soppy, and y'all are probably sick of hearing me go on about this. So the rest of them don't know. I'm aging out come January. I know. There's no cheers on. It's true. So I'm aging out in January. This does not affect me. I'm done. I've come to that age now where I'm leaving. I'm a better person now for having attended this group. It doesn't matter to me, but that is why it's so important to me. Oh my god, now this is where we get emotional. No, I definitely will, because I'm not over the fact I have to leave. I will not leave if I can stay, I will. For the past 7 or so years, I've been attending Belong To, and particularly LadyBirds, and I started out with Jill, and I went on to Jer, and I've been here longer than some people. I have grown into a young person that is outspoken, confident, strong. I will stand up to anyone, and I will stand up for anyone. I'm actually this really upsets me, believe it. And all I want is for this process, this manifesto, this campaign to have the same impact on the young people that are here today.
If Alison can cry, you can cry.
Is there 19 now?
19, yeah, 19. I look it, don't I?
20.
But yeah, no, so as I was saying there, this group has affected me so much. It's made me the person I am. And if I hadn't gone to this group for years and years, who knows where it'd be. To be honest, I've gone through so much shit, who knows where it'd be. And that's the same for the young people here. Who knows where they'd be? What would become of them? Would they be bullied for the rest of their life? Would they be thrown out of their house? You don't know these things, And this group has made us so we have a place. We have a place, we have a purpose, we have a voice. And I just want this process to have the same impact on them. I want this document to be followed. I want them to feel like they have a purpose and that they can keep going. I'm just going to see if there's anything here before I start crying again. And also, actually, it's a supporting document and a supporting group. People can come here just to feel included, just to be a part of something, and that's one of the main focuses for us. Again, being included. It's just that everyone is included and feels like they have a place. In relation to what we want to do with this document, we're hoping to go forward now and start to address all the issues that we talked about in it. So if you get a chance to read it, please do. It's good. It's a good one. It'll be up on our website as well. I like it.
You would.
So in relation to our plans, we want to start a campaign. We want to introduce comprehensive LBT sexual health, and by comprehensive I mean sex positive, I mean inclusive, I mean healthy relationships, I mean knowing that you can get an STI even if you're a lesbian, even if you're non-binary, even if whatever. Inclusive of everything that you never got when you were in school. Stuff that you never learned except for when you came here, or except when you watched some weird video on YouTube. Well, let's be honest, that's what you find.
We've all seen them.
Exactly. So we want to start going around Ireland. In particular, we want to go to Cork, and we want to go to the Link, I believe it's called. We want to train people there. We want to train them in this comprehensive sexual health, and we want them to go and train more and train more and train more and create this national campaign where we ourselves, we're not settling for second best. We're saying we want first, and we want it all. And if you're not going to give it to us, we're going to create it. So that's what we want. We want then in our own groups to educate the rest of our participants, get everyone trained in this, actually properly trained. Go to a residential, train more women, get this to be inclusive in all of Ireland. Get our name out there, get this campaign out there, get this manifesto out there, and hopefully it'll start a movement. In relation to the sexual health education, the reason why I feel this affects the main topics we were talking about, we're addressing misogyny. Where does most of misogyny play a part? You know, rape culture. You know, you get people that are more aware of themselves, more aware of the sexual health, more aware of healthy relationship, they will not accept that. They will not accept, and that's directly affecting our core beliefs. So, to finish up before I start continuing on, I'm leaving in January, and I want to be able to say that these guys, they're following on, they're continuing, they're not just stopping, they're growing and growing and becoming bigger than I can ever imagine they could be. So that's what I want, and I hope that's what you guys want.
Sorry, I just love you so much.
So I feel like I was given a soapbox here tonight, and then I was just allowed to shout about feminism and how I demand better. So thank you for listening to me. I know, thanks, sorry, I know. I wish I had worn my repeal jumper. So yeah, I feel like I've been given a soapbox, so thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for coming here today, and hopefully you enjoy all the free food and stuff, because I certainly am.
You're probably wondering what's a cis white hetero male doing managing the largest group of supporting, should I say, the largest group of young LGBT women in the country. That's easy because I'm a feminist. I suppose 6 long years I've been supporting this group. I've seen many young women cross our doors. It's to pay homage to the model that we actually use, where from a professional point of view it's a good standard of practice, you know, that facilitates their personal development and their growth so they can explore their identities, but also to offer them that critical space so they can question the issues that actually impact on their lives and the lives of so many. You know, I'm just extremely proud.